All right. So let's remember what we're doing here. And I'm so heartened that you're here because it is so easy to get lost in all the dreams of the mind's projections about each moment, the mind's projections about ourselves, the story of ourself, the narrative, the egoic narrative that we keep running and keep trying to validate and fulfill and satisfy. That's being deep in the dream. It's like falling asleep at night and being chased by a tiger, and that's all there is. When you're deep in the dream and you don't choose to recognize, wait a minute, these dreams come and go, they keep changing. Who's dreaming? Like, is there an awakeness? Is there a consciousness within which all the different ideas, thoughts, opinions, imaginations, all of these things come and go and arise and pass. The movie that we play about our lives is happening within the presence of consciousness. And here in satsang, in our practices, in our conversations, in our devotions, we return back to what is the essential truth of my being, the awake self. What is that? And most people aren't asking that question. They're struggling with trying to get the world to behave to satisfy the fragile and illusion of separation, the ego, the illusion of a separate self. They're trying to get the world to behave to satisfy and console, bolster a false narrative, a false self, an egoic self that is purely a construct of the mind. But we're here to ask, wait a minute, as a human spiritual being, what is that? What are the different components? What is the makeup of this human spiritual being? Mainly the spiritual being having a human experience. And what are the dynamics of this spirituality? What is the formless nature of our being that transcends the temporary body, the temporary mind, and the temporary ego self? And what a wild and beautiful thing it is to awaken as that formless consciousness of being embodied in a temporary human experience. That's what we get to do here. And ideally, we're leading lives where we're in this conversation on a regular basis, not just during satsang every few weeks or not just during our meditations, but pretty consistently. Driving along in the car, working in the garden, going for a walk, that we might be reviewing our studies, what we're learning, doing some self-inquiry. Who's here in the garden right now? Oh, here's this character of me gardening. And it is an experience. There's an experience occurring. And the experience might be triggering emotions. So here's the physical experience, here's the emotional experience, here's the mental experience. And in our lives, no matter what we're doing, to keep asking the question, and what is aware of all of this changing, fluctuating experience? What is the one stability? What is the equanimity of grace that knows all of this? And to recognize that is the true self, because it doesn't ever go away. it doesn't change. So we're going to explore that more today. Today I want to talk about peace, what we call inner peace, and the essential peace of our being. So we get to play with that today. All right, let's see who else is here. Anyone else? I know there's more people here. Go ahead and chat in. If you're here, let me know who you are. It's nice to know who I'm talking to, you know? It's those of you in the Oasis community, you know, I know you and you know me. Well, right? These are such interesting phrases and terms to use in this body of work. We'll leave that just as it is. I know you, you know me. That means a lot of different things. All right. So, and check with yourself. If you're here, and I know you're here, I can see the numbers, right? But you're not chatting in. Why not? It's a, just to be blunt, it's a courtesy. You know, participate, engage, show up, be present. Turn on my do not disturb here. There we go. Okay. All right, my friends. So, I invite you to come to stillness. Be very present here, not multitasking. You really can't follow along, if you will, or go with where we're pointing awareness if you're multitasking. So I invite you to put everything down, stop anything else, and just give yourself this gift to be present here for a little while and see where we go, see where you go, see what unfolds, what blossoms, what is revealed. I was in a cafe yesterday or a couple of days ago, and a gentleman was finishing up reading The Power of Now. And so we got engaged in conversation. He was a bit new to this work. But what we were really talking about was the power of now means, right, be here now. Ram Dass, be here now. Why? Because it is in the stillness that we come to recognize our true nature. When we're not doing, trying to achieve something, trying to improve something, not ruminating about the past or trying to create the future, but just to be present. We're present in our beingness. So just find yourself in some stillness. Bring your awareness to your breath, to your breathing. Noticing the physicality of the air moving in and out of your body. It's kind of pointing the awareness down out of the mind. You can focus on the heart, perhaps. Imagining that it is the heart that is breathing. And just listen. Listen to the words that I offer and see what that conjures for you. So recognize that any experience you have is known. Any experience you have is known. Without the knowing of an experience, there is no experience. Any experience you've ever had has been known. There has been the knowing of the experience. Any experience you ever will have will be known. The experiences are varied. The experiences are ever changing. The emotions are ever changing. The thoughts are certainly ever changing. Different levels of satisfaction, frustration, happiness, grief, sadness, joy, bliss, pleasure, doubt, fear. Even our sense of peace. We'll go into that today. All of these things appear and disappear, come and go, arise and fall away, ever changing. The one thing that remains the same is the steady presence of knowing. You can't be your thoughts because your thoughts are ever changing, especially your thoughts about self. It's called the ego identity. It is activity of mind. That can't be you. Anything that goes can't be you. A thought goes, it appears, and then it goes. So if it goes, it can't be you. You always have to remain. An emotion arises and passes. So you can't be your emotions. Because when an emotion goes, do you go? If all thoughts and emotions temporarily for 5 seconds stopped, you would still exist. The knowing of everything that ever has been, is now, or will be is steady, unwavering, and undisturbed. This knowing is also called consciousness or awareness. A moment, a circumstance, a situation may very well be disturbing. To the humanity of us. But the knowing of that disturbance is not disturbed. We get lost in the disturbance so thoroughly when we are not practiced or awakening as who we really are, the awareness, the witness, the completeness of consciousness that we are. We get lost in the disturbance, and we forget that it is arising, passing, moving through, occurring within, an undisturbed knowing. The knowing of the disturbance is not disturbed. And I invite you to check in with yourself and not just to believe or disbelieve anything that I say or any teacher or any guide says, but to go to your own direct experience. Is there not the presence of a knowing of every fluctuation of thought and feeling? And that undisturbed knowing, that undisturbed consciousness is the one shared consciousness within which a temporary individual human experience or an individuation of that consciousness as a temporary human experience, a limited mind experience, is happening. It's a yes and situation. Yes, I am having this wildly dynamic and fluctuating and sometimes tumultuous human experience. The full range of emotions and thoughts and imaginings, like the full complexity of the precious human opportunity is happening within the unwavering grace of consciousness. Who you really are ultimately is the same as me, is the same as everyone, the same one consciousness. You can think of that consciousness as a movie screen, let's say, or any screen. You've been on a Zoom call, and let's say the screen is populated by all these individual squares, rectangles, each one representing another individuation, a story, a character, a narrative. Different clothing, different backgrounds, different looks, different genders, different stories. And there's, let's say, 100 small rectangles on this screen. What is the one thing they all share? The screen. When you pull back your awareness, pull back and out of the personal individuated experience, you start to recognize the presence of knowing. And you start to recognize the oneness of that knowing. As the screen, as the shared knowing. Within which an individuated expression of itself is occurring. So let's talk about peace. That knowing, that consciousness, that unwavering equanimity of grace is the peace that we have forgotten, and therefore, as an individual, personal self, that we are seeking to know our truth, to know the truth of being. Genuine peace is what you are. The formless essence of your being, the essential nature of your being, transcendent of the temporary body, mind, and ego, is consciousness itself, which is I want to say in a state of peace, but that implies that there is other states it could be in. It just is peaceful awareness. Unbothered, because there's nothing that isn't it. It just is. The pure I am that allows for all manner of expressions. It is like the screen that allows and accepts and doesn't deny anything that is projected upon it. So this peace of being, this peaceful consciousness of being, doesn't actually live within us. We appear within it. And it being you, me, us. Just as a dream appears within your consciousness at night, and then the next night it's a different dream, and different dream, different dream. But the consciousness, the head laying on the pillow, is still the same. Peace, true peace, unwavering peace, does not exist within you. You are appearing within that unwavering peace of being. Now we call it inner peace because that's where we experience it. We are perceptual beings. We experience everything through our perceptions. Sight, smell, taste, hearing, touch. That's how we know the world. That's how we know anything as humans. So to experience that true peace of being, the only place we can truly experience it is within our sense of self. So we call it inner peace. But it's not a peace that belongs to you. The feeling of inner peace is the felt experience of accepting, acknowledging your truth. We feel it within, but that's not where it lives. It lives everywhere. It is everything. And the peace that you are is not different than the peace that I am or anyone else. It's not stronger or deeper or more profound. It's the exact same peace that we all are. Your feelings of it, your experience of it may waver because your mind gets in the way, your stories get in the way, your conditioning and programming and over identification as the character of self. That will veil or obscure the knowing of that peace. And so you'll feel like the peace comes and goes. But true peace doesn't come and go. It's all there is. When the veiling of your conditioned fear, let's say, subsides, there's peace. It's already there. And it's not there within you. The knowing of it is felt in the body, but the peace that is known is the fabric of life itself, the oneness of God, of consciousness, of love. The experience is felt within you because that's the only place you can truly experience it is within the sense of perception, feelings. So it's a localized feeling or experience of the oneness of being. So we tend to experience within us states of peace. And then we erroneously go about trying to stabilize those states of peace. And that's not the full human experience. The whole human experience is all manner of feelings and thoughts and imaginations, and dynamics. So the idea isn't to try to stabilize a state of peace. It is to accept and acknowledge and abide the unwavering presence of peace, within which all manner of human experience occurs. So, peace is our essential nature. It is the shared experience or the shared consciousness of all beings. Peace is your essential nature. It does not come and go. That's what essential means. When everything else is taken away, stripped away, gender, identity, roles, thoughts, feelings, all these things that come and go and change and fluctuate. When all that is not essential to you is stripped away, there is peace. The peace of consciousness. So peace is your essential nature, and inner peace is simply your felt experience within form of that essential formless nature. So peace is your essential nature. And inner peace is your experience, your felt experience within the form of your humanity, the experience of that divine, formless consciousness of peace that you truly are. Inner peace is simply the felt experience of that. So, in what ways is this helpful to know, to recognize? Don't chase inner peace. You don't need to chase what you already are and always will be and always have been. You're chasing a state of mind or a balancing of emotions, a taming of emotions. What a freedom it is to allow emotions and thoughts, imaginings to arise and pass and come and go. And to be awake as the peace within which all of that is occurring. And it's kind of funny that just because these truths are so unfamiliar to us, it's funny that I have to speak about my work and tell a lie as I speak about my work. Because I might say my dharma, my path, my journey here is to help be a guide to true inner peace. And here I am saying, no, inner peace is not the true peace. Inner peace is the felt experience of the true unwavering peace that is the fabric of consciousness itself. So, better way to phrase it would be, I'm a guide to help you have a human experience of your boundless spiritual truth. What happens when you accept the boundless nature of your being? That is never not true. It doesn't come and go. It isn't true sometimes. The truth of your being is the knowing of all experience, the peaceful knowing of all experience. That is never not true. So what questions arise? Where do you feel into this, and where does your way of seeing, feeling, believing, where does it run up maybe against a little bit of a hiccup, a little bit of a, wait a minute, but how does that work? The questions that arise. Because when you've been in a dream for a long, 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 long time, you don't just wake up out of the dream and trust what you experience. Because it is so different, perhaps, than what you've ever experienced. That the ego mind says, this can't be real. It's a new thing. I've never experienced true peace. So, is it real? We're living upside down. We're treating the reality of our being as a questionable, hard to believe thing. And we're treating the ever-changing movie of ourselves that the mind is playing out as reality. I was at this cafe where I was talking to this gentleman who was reading The Power of Now. He was new to the language is new. So he said, here I am in Bali and I'm finding this real peace. He said, but the problem is soon I'm going to go back to reality. And the peace it's going to be hard for the peace to hold. And we've just gotten so used to the illusion being truth. He said, when I go back to reality, it's like, no, the peace is the reality. Everything that seemingly disturbs that peace is a disturbed state of mind, a disturbed state of emotion, a disturbed state of mental, physical, emotional humanity. Peace is the reality. It's like the sky is the reality and the weather's temporary. The weather comes and goes. So it's good to talk about these things because we start to go, wow, isn't that interesting? I just called my anxieties or doubts or fears, frustrations, I called those reality. And I'm calling true peace as this fantastical thing that every once in a while shows up, but it's not very steady. No, it is the one steadiness that is true. It is the peaceful knowing of all your states of emotional and mental experience. Ali, good to have you here, Ali. I so appreciate you showing up all the time and following your inclinations. How about when we're sleeping? Is awareness still present? It's a good question, Ali. It's a question that is a curiosity. Let's just frame this. It is a question of curiosity, but I want to invite let's not have it be a question of proving whether or not we are truly the unwavering consciousness of knowing. The mind does this. Yeah, well, what about this? And what about that? And what about this? So we can look at it as a curiosity. And I'll admit that I am not yet greatly adept at being able to flesh out why, yes, awareness is present when we're sleeping. It's never not. It can't be not present. Consciousness can't go away. It can't. It's the essence of our being. It's a very esoteric question. In order for something to know something else, it has to stand apart from it. Consciousness itself can never stand apart from itself. And therefore, one might say that consciousness beyond the human experience doesn't know anything. It can't get any distance to have a relationship to a perspective on anything. If you ask consciousness, the purity of consciousness, to speak of itself, ask God to speak of itself, the best it could do is say, I am. And that's it. Not I am this or that, because there is no this or that is separate. There's just I am. So at night, if we're not dreaming and there seems to be nothingness, that is consciousness. That is the purity of consciousness. Not knowing anything. It's within the human experience that consciousness gets to experience every thought, every emotion, every imagination, every experience, every feeling, all the sense perceptions. Those are all happening within that consciousness. But then when those stop while we're sleeping, the consciousness just knows its essential nature, no longer colored, no longer influenced by our imaginings and our storytelling and our projections. The screen doesn't go away when the movie stops playing. It's just that it is now in its purity. There's nothing happening. So yes, consciousness, awareness, the awareness of nothing is present. but in its pure form. And it's really hard for the human mind to grok that, because we are beings that see and feel and taste and touch and hear life in the form and in the relative time and space of things. Consciousness doesn't operate like that. Consciousness is conscious of our way of operating, but the only way we will never know pure consciousness, because we are a limited mind expression of that consciousness. So yeah, you can see how it gets esoteric. But there it is. So yeah, we can treat those questions as curiosities and not as proof of our truth. And Ali continues, sometimes I'm worrying about something before I sleep, and then sleep. Seems it's gone. But when I wake up, the mind starts to think about it again. Yeah, perfect, right? The mind shuts down, consciousness knows itself. Nothingness, stillness, there's no, it just is. I am, I just am, just am, just am. I just am, waiting for experience. And then you wake up and your mind creates the experience. The idea is not to get so lost in the experience that you forget about the peaceful knowing of all experience. So you wake up, the mind starts to think again. What is aware of that? This is the most profound and probably beneficial question we can ask in self-inquiry. And what is aware of this thinking? It is known. What is the essence of the knowing? What is the essence of the knowing? Does the knowing change when the thinking change? Does the sky change when the weather changes? Does the movie screen change when the movie changes? Does knowing change when the emotion or thought changes? To be able to pull out of the thinking so that we can allow the thinking, so that we can pull out of the thinking to abide the knowing, and then engage the thinking. Let the thinking engage the thinking, and you don't have to be bothered by it, because you are the unbothered peace, the unbothered knowing of whether it's bothersome thinking or happy thinking or blissful thinking or troubled thinking. What is aware of that? I am. What does that I am mean? I am the consciousness of that, the awareness, the witness, the knowing of that thinking. Perfect. This is freedom. To know thyself. To know thyself. Fully, completely, wholly, truly. The human spiritual nature. To know our humanity, to know our thinking and our thoughts and our feelings and our traumas and our conditioning and our programming and our observations and our perceptions and our judgments and our opinions and all of that. To know all of that. To know what it's made of, where it comes from, what its origins are, what our storyline is. To know all of that. And to know the knowing, the unwavering, peaceful knowing within which all of that has always been coming and going, is currently coming and going, and will always come and go. All of that will always come and go within the true consciousness of being, the shared consciousness, the skyness that we all share, within which we're all having these different weather patterns. Beautiful. What other questions? Nuances arise, because this is what it takes. This is what study is. In order to awaken as who we truly are, typically takes study, conversation, framing, reframing, new perspectives, new inquiries, new ways of feeling, sensing, touching, tasting, hearing, thinking, feeling. Remember the Wizard of Oz? You know, the wizard's behind the curtain, and the only thing that anyone is experiencing is this, is the projection that is being created, this image that is being created of the mighty, all-powerful Oz. But once the Toto goes over and pulls the curtain back, you see it's just this little man pulling levers and pushing buttons, and the truth is then known. And this big, fearful image has no power any longer. So once we know what our conditioning and programming and fears and doubts are made of, and the truth behind them, we can start to find the true freedom of our being. If you were in a movie theater and you were very disturbed by the movie to the point where you said, I don't like this anymore, I'm so lost in this movie, and this is horrible movie, and I'm lost in it, all it would take to stop your horrific experience would be to look around and remember you're in a movie theater. What would happen to all the fear and agitation and anxiety that was being generated by being so lost in the movie? As soon as you looked around and went, oh, that's right, I'm in a movie theater. Gone. Gone. You see it for what it is. So, inner peace can be a fleeting or temporary experience of the unwavering truth of our essential nature of awareness, consciousness, knowing. The unwavering knowing of all experience. When we remember that, we feel inner peace. But the peace, inner peace, is an experience of true peace that is unwavering. The inner peace may come and go because, again, we get lost in the experiences, we get lost in our emotionality and thoughts. We want to be able to have the thoughts and have the emotions and allow them to be present. While remembering, awakening as the knowing of all of it. Inner peace seems to come and go just because we take our eye off the ball. And you can get to the point with practice of abidance and devotion and practice, you can get to the point where no matter what is happening, there's always the remembrance of that no matter what is happening, there is a peaceful knowing of it. That's freedom. To have the full life experience because you are the peaceful allowance and knowing of it. That's the truth of your being. The shared oneness of unified consciousness. As Ram Dass called it, unconditional loving awareness. That is the fabric of consciousness that we all are. So many of us lost in the personal experience, but that does not negate or take away the truth that no matter what is happening within your personal experience, it is known. It is known. And the knowing is unbothered by what it knows. Other reflections, thoughts, shares. Again, if you're in the oasis, you can jump into a one-on-one conversation. We're all seeking peace. The superpower of true peace. It awakens when we recognize it's all there's ever been. It's all there ever will be. I invite you to practice with this mantra. I am the stillness in the background of all experience. I am the stillness in the background of all experience. I am the peaceful knowing of every thought, feeling, emotion, and sensation. I am the peaceful knowing of every thought, feeling, emotion, and sensation. That is awakening. That is to be, for the knowing to be awake to itself, to pull out of the dream, to pull out of the mind's projections, to remember itself. I am the sky. Everything else is the weather. I am the peaceful knowing of every thought, feeling, emotion, and sensation. I am the peaceful knowing of every experience. If you're here to awaken as who you truly are, there you go. That is who you truly are. It's who I truly am. It's who we all truly are. That one consciousness localizes itself in all these myriad individuated limited minds that typically only experience through senses and perceptions: seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, smelling. So we know the oneness of peace, the peaceful, unwavering, or the unwavering, peaceful knowing of all experience. We recognize that typically through a sense of inner peace. But that inner peace is just the human form experiencing the formless nature of our being. So when Ali points to, I wake up in the morning and I start thinking again, I wake up in the morning and thinking starts again. And I know that. I am aware of the thinking. When we say I start thinking again, it's identifying I as the thinker. I start thinking. No, the mind starts thinking. The ego starts thinking. The activity of mind starts thinking. But the true I is not thinking. It is aware of thinking happening. And this is why it's so valuable to witness our mind from that place of peace. So we can look and go, well, check out my mind. Well, check out the mind today. I am the awareness of mind. I am the witness of mind. I am the knowing of mind. Wow, check out mind. Oh, there it goes. Whoo, boy. It's doing a lot of fearful thinking today. It's doing a lot of angry thinking today. It's doing a lot of judgment thinking today. It's doing a lot of trying to hold peace and trying to, grab happiness thinking today. It's doing a lot of happy thinking today. But then tomorrow it's not doing such happy thinking. But what is aware of all the thinking? I am. I am not thinking. The mind is thinking. I am not the mind. I am not thinking. The mind is thinking. I am not agitated. The emotional body is agitated. I am aware of that. I am the knowing of that. I am the still and peaceful knowing of this current emotional state. So we sit in our meditations and we practice remembering these things and marinating on these things. It takes a while. Wait, what's really happening? Wait, let me go over that again. I am not thinking. The mind is thinking. I am the knowing of the thinking mind. And when I go to sleep at night, and if there's no dreaming, no thinking, I am then the knowing of the pure emptiness of consciousness, without any coloring of mind. And then I wake up in the morning and mind starts again, coloring the unwavering consciousness, the unwavering knowing with all of its thinking and feeling and perceiving. All of its perceiving is happening within the peace of knowing. And it takes a while to really understand and feel and abide and really recognize the truth of this. It's like learning a new language. It just takes a while. It's like learning a new culture. You know, if you were in France and you crossed over the border into Italy and you'd never been to Italy before, if you don't just sit down and go, okay, now I'm in Italy. Got it. All right. I'm just going to sit here until I know Italy. No, you got to go exploring. You got to go tasting and experiencing and learning the language and the customs and the culture and the nuance and the flavors and the smells and the sights and the language, all of it. Go wandering around for a while. It's going to take you a while to really know Italy. So go wandering around for a while in these studies, in these ways of shifting our perception and our understandings, and it'll start to make sense, and you'll start to be able to articulate with much more ease and confidence the truth of your being. I am not the mind. I'm not the thinker. The mind is the thinker. I am the awareness of the thinking mind. Yeah. Oh, here's some more comments. Most of the time, I feel in peace after a long day of work. When the problems are solved and the things go your way, then feel at peace. When things don't go our way, problem not solved, mind keeps going to problem-solving mode. Restless. This is where the reminder comes in, to go back to be in the knowing. Yeah, it's the habit of, it's just the way we've always done it. We've always felt it. When we are disconnected from our truth, we're going to feel not enough. We're going to feel an emptiness. When we're disconnected from our divinity, we're going to feel like there's our happiness. When we don't know the essential nature of our being is already peace, then we're going to be seeking to create peaceful experiences because we believe that they are responsible for our peace. See, this is where most people get stuck. They don't know their own essential nature is already at peace, the peaceful stillness in the background of all experience. So when their experience gets rocked, they believe that they need to change the experience to be at peace. And that's suffering, because you may have noticed that world out there, it doesn't behave. The people out there, they don't behave. And if we're waiting to get everything to behave in the way that is in alignment with our sense of what will make us peaceful or happy, we will spend the rest of our lives struggling and suffering and resisting and scrambling and manipulating and trying to control, because we have placed all the responsibility for our state of being on life and people and situations and relationships and circumstances behaving in the particular ways that satisfy our egoic story of self. So yeah, this is perfect, great dialogue. Yeah, when things are going well, I'm at peace. When things aren't going well, I'm not at peace. Well, all right, that kind of points to a problem, doesn't it? So what's the answer? Work harder to make sure that everything remains copacetic to your sense of what is peaceful? No, that's definitely not the answer. The only answer is to know thyself, to recognize that everything you have ever experienced and ever will experience is known. And the knowing is at peace. Every weather pattern has been known by the sky, and the sky has been unbothered by every weather pattern. Who are you? Transcendent of the temporary body, mind, ego story of self. You exist. You are. You already are. The body will die, the mind will stop, the ego will go away with the mind, and you will still exist. The one thing that you truly are, that I truly am, that we all share, the one thing we all share, is the consciousness of which we are born. Yeah, Gary, resistance equals suffering. Yeah, the oneness of loving consciousness isn't an argument. Oh my God, it would be exhausting. It would be, imagine the oneness of consciousness constantly just looking at humanity itself and going, oh my God, seriously? Are you, oh my God, nope, it's not right yet. It's not right yet. Got to change that. Okay, I think I've got humanity all behaving correctly. Oh, now these people are going doing that. Oh, that, like, consciousness would be in hell, constant hell, if it was resisting everything that was appearing within it. And it's not to say we don't endeavor to create a more loving and graceful and enriching human experience that is more in alignment with that loving consciousness. It's not to say we don't engage and interact with the world of form and humanity. But to remember that all of this and every feeling we have about it and every thought we have about it, valid as they may be, are happening within the peaceful consciousness of being, within the peaceful knowing of those feelings and thoughts and emotions. Yes, and yes, this is screwed up. Yes, I want this to change, but I'm not attaching to needing it to change in order for me to be rested in my essential nature of peace. When the Chinese invaded Tibet, they put a lot of Tibetan monks in prisons. And they said, we're putting you in prison, physically putting you in prison. And the monks certainly would prefer not to be in prison. And they're going to fight to stay out of prison. It is preferred. But even in being put in prison, and the Chinese said, we are putting you in prison. The monks said, no, you're not. You can't. It is not within your power to imprison me. What if it is not within the power of the entirety of the human condition. To remove from us the one essential truth of our being, the unwavering, peaceful awareness of the entire experience. The only thing that is unwavering and true about any moment is the knowing of it. The knowing is undisturbed. Okay. Let me jump into YouTube here. Here's a couple of more comments on YouTube. Sorry, I haven't seen these. No, I have seen these. Okay. Any other, please share your thoughts, your questions, your conundrums, your queries, your confusions. This is a nuanced journey to wake up out of the deep dream, the deep illusion of separation that we feel as humans, the humanity of our human spiritual journey. And it's good to talk about and to ask questions and to feel into where it doesn't quite make sense yet. Or I remember hearing a lot of these teachings early on, and I was like, what? What? Wait, say that again? Wait, what the hell do you mean by that? Like looking at my teachers and going, wait, you just said something that I trust my teachers. I appreciate their guidance, but there are times they'd say things I go, I have no idea what the hell you're talking about. And instead of dismissing it because I didn't know what they were talking about, I learned to ask questions. Tell me more about that. Help me understand that better. So chat in your questions, your queries, your insights. This is how we awaken, we engage, we ponder, we self-inquire. And the reason I follow this path, my Dharma, is because I was gifted with a tremendous amount of ignorance and anxiety and trauma and emotional wounding that inspired me to try to find some truth, to try to find some peace. And I kept trying to find peace in my mind. I kept trying to find peace in my thoughts. And the analogy I use now is like ripples on a pond. And I kept trying to smooth the ripples with my hands and wondering why it wasn't working. I was looking in the wrong place. I didn't even know that there was a self, a consciousness of being. I didn't know what consciousness was. I certainly didn't know that the essential truth of me was consciousness. Prior to and beyond the human experience, I had no idea. I was just struggling with the human experience. Just struggling and suffering and fighting and trying to tame and work out and smooth out the human experience. And the freedom came in from recognizing, oh, I am the stillness of consciousness in the background of all human experience. So now I can be with my human experience from a place of true love, true acceptance, true compassion, true awareness, true stillness. I'm not looking for the whole human experience to mellow out, although it does. But just seeking the true peace of being within which all human experience can arise and pass and come and go and be experienced. All right, I'm going to start to wrap up here. Thank you for being here, for following your Dharma, following your path, following your curiosity. The question I would invite you to really be with is, what knows this experience? And what is the nature of that knowing? Any disturbance of thought or feeling is known. The knowing of the disturbance is not disturbed. All right, friends, blessings. Thank you for being here. Much love. And we'll see you in a few weeks. And again, if you're so inclined, you can make a donation using the link below in the description. But just know this is an offering of love, because it is an offering of the oneness into the oneness. We're all, as Ram Dass beautifully said, we're all just walking each other home. We are all the same. We're all the same consciousness, just embodied in all these different human experiences. So from love to love, thank you. Blessings. Be well.